What's going on, guys? And today, of course, we are doing the season predictions for the good old Cleveland Cavaliers. They brought themselves in Kenny Atkinson, who I'm a big fan of. So before we start today's video, I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. What is your prediction for the Cavaliers this season? And hit that like and subscribe button for more content like this. And go check out my work at USA Today SportsHoopsUp.com. Now, I really, for some reason, have a fondness. I'm not even a Cavs fan, but I have a fondness for this team. What is my expectation? I think, they want to take that jump. And obviously, I think health, be a healthy team. But also, first off, figure out, I think they're committed to Mobley and Allen, and I think Mobley's going to figure it out. I think they're trying, the prediction this season is they're going to figure out Garland if it was just a fluke last year. Outside of that, what's next? How do we continue to think of ways to improve the Cavaliers, who are a team that I think they have championship aspirations. Now, I think Donovan Mitchell is another guy who's just trying to take that jump and show that he is a MVP level player. Garland's trying to come back, and I think these are all things that we're trying to see. And I think Kenny Atkinson is trying to also take this team to the next level. And I think that's what happened. They're hoping JB Bickerstaff is Mark Jackson and Kenny Atkinson over here is Steve Kerr. I know that's an exaggeration, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they think, is that he's going to come over here as a guy who is a, no-nonsense, gifted not only as an offensive mind, but as a defensive mind too. Now, I believe it is currently 47.5 wins they're projected, and I'd like to think that they're going to be a 50-win team easily. So looking at the current projections, have them, as I said, 47.5. I think just looking at that, I think that's just being rude. And last year, this was a team that won 48 games. I think both the Pacers and the Cavs are in front of the Bucks until the Bucks prove otherwise, especially with the minimal moves they made. I would maybe put the Pacers just in front of the Cavs, but the one thing is they could just be as equally as bad on defense. And if that's the case, if they're that bad on defense again, I'd rather have the Cavs, because at least the Cavs are, they have someone who can take over and they can shut people down. Now, the Magic are a team to be scared of that could come up on the Cavs, but outside of that, I feel pretty strong that the Cavs can make a case to be the third best team behind the Knicks and the Celtics. Now, Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, we assume Isaac Okoro, Evan Mobley, and Jared Allen are the starters, with Dean Wade, George Niang, Max Strus, Karis LeVert probably making the 9-man rotation behind those guys, and as they usually stagger Allen and Mobley when they're not on the floor together, to have them basically play center when the other one's not there. And then if they did need to play a center, it's seemingly going to be Tristan Thompson. I think Craig Porter Jr., I think, could be a guy who becomes, the primary backup and really is someone who just comes in as a pest for them for 15 minutes and can be a guy who can run the offense for Garland. Now, I think Sam Merrill is also someone to watch for just be a three-point demon. Jalen Tyson, I think, is someone who could be the next Josh Hart and someone they'll probably want to phase in. We know that Luke Travers and Imani Bates are probably safe on their two ways. They do have Sam Merrill, Craig Porter, and Tristan Thompson on non-guaranteed deals, and I expect them to all be on the team, while Jacob Gilliard, Jules Bernard, Zaire Smith, and Pete Nance are more than likely fighting with JT Thor, Imani Bates, and Luke Travers for, one of those two ways. I think none of those guys are going to. I think they're all Pete Nance, Bernard, Smith, and Gilliard are all going to be on their G League team. I just think Imani Bates is better than all those players. Same thing with Luke Travers. And I think JT Thor, again, also a better player than all those guys. I really think the only guy that the two guys that intrigue me is obviously Pete Nance and Jacob Gilliard, but we all know how that is. I mean, unless they cut like Ty Jerome and Tristan Thompson, or make a trade, which expect a trade. Expect, from my understanding, that George Niang is the most likely guy to get traded, or Ty Jerome. From what I understand, they like Dean Wade too much to move him. They like Kenny Atkinson likes Karis LeVert too much to move him. Okoro, because he just signed this deal, isn't tradable for a certain amount of time. So the only way they can get under is by basically trading George Niang. Because I believe cutting Ty Jerome is not enough. And it's basically George Niang would have to be traded before the end of the season. I find that one definitely interesting. But, I mean, and I think trading George Niang is something teams are expecting. And this is where, personally, I would not be surprised if whatever draft capital they have left, if they packaged Karis LeVert and George Niang for Dorian Finney-Smith and somebody else off of that Nets roster. That way, Nets, if they want, I mean, they have George Niang, who, a shooter, he'll just be plug and play, and then they get themselves a young guy in the likes of, or either Karis LeVert, who's an expiring that they can either keep and retain and then trade him down the road by, extending him on a cheap deal, or straight up just letting him walk at free agency. But I think that's something that they keep an eye out for, a deal like that, and they get like Dorian Finney-Smith. And I guess the only other players that they would maybe have some interest in, if they outside, like, because of that, you did that deal, that brings you to like almost $25 million. So they could actually get Cam Johnson at that point, but I think Dorian Finney-Smith is the player you'd rather have, and bringing in Dorian and then maybe either asking for Cam Thomas, which may be a stretch, but Zaire Williams or Shake Milton are realistic guys to ask for, to throw in, and that would still, be saving money, or Deron Sharp. What are your thoughts?